Hi everybody. We are in our final week of courses, or of regular kind of lectures and classes. We're going to get our last two intervals, the minor seventh today and the major seventh on Wednesday. We're going to get our last couple trichord operations and kind of wrap up the quarter. We've gone on quite the post-tonal adventure, so we're coming towards the end of it. So, minor seventh singing, and retrograde inversion. We'll talk about retrograde inversion in a second. It sounds exactly what it sounds like, but minor seventh singing is, the sevenths get really tricky because, like with the sixes, we have these big intervals, and it's really hard to kind of stack them because range becomes a big issue. So octave equivalence and knowing your range is really crucial for that. But before we get into any sort of nuts and bolts, let's go ahead and do a warm-up. Let's just do some scales to kind of get our voices ready to go. Major scale, please. 1, 2, ready, go. Let's go ahead and do harmonic minor, please. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so for practice, sing this pitch on La. Hear a minor seventh above in your head. Now sing it. Okay, sing this pitch again on La. Hear a minor seventh below in your head. Now let's hear it. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we're going to be doing. Today. Okay, so great. Let's take a look at this. So, just like with the sixes last week, the way that Edlund and Modus Novus kind of compile these things is looking at compound intervals to get us to an octave, or shortly around an octave. So in this case, he combines minor sevenths with minor seconds to get us kind of just shy of an octave, and he combines those. That kind of thing, okay? So, notice that we've got seventh followed by semitone. Then we've got seventh followed by semitone. Then we've got semitone followed by seventh. Then we've got semitone followed by seventh. And so on. So, let's just go ahead and do this top line pitch by pitch. So you can sing this on C sharp, or La, or let's see, it would be D, as in like raised Do, or you can sing it on 1. Ready? So here's this pitch. Okay, let's start at the top now. Start at good old 0, and then we'll work our way back downwards. Okay. Okay, yeah, minor sevenths I think are going to be far trickier than major sevenths because major sevenths are so close to an octave. It's easy to conceptualize them as just an octave down, but even just that extra semitonal distance between a minor seventh and a major seventh is, I think, enough to really kind of complicate things for us orally, okay? So let's look at that third, this section here. It's the third measure, but it's labeled 4, okay? So descend by a half step. Now descend by a minor seventh. Hear it in your head. Okay, pretty tricky, okay? Now start here. So ascend by minor second. Now hear a minor seventh above in your head. Okay, let's hear it. Okay, yeah, pretty tricky. We'll see certain examples, but the way that Edlund also talks about hearing minor sevenths, and this might be useful for you if you want to kind of break them down as like a compound interval, is that he describes that you can break up a minor seventh into being like 2/4. So if you want to kind of think of an intermediate fourth in there, so say we've got up a half step, up a minor seventh. That might be a way to do it. If you want to think of something a bit more granular, thinking of it as 2/4, especially for like a sight singing purpose, because a minor seventh, especially out of a tonal context, can be kind of difficult to hear. So let's take a look at the second staff here. Okay, let's just kind of talk through some of these. We'll go ahead and sing a couple of them, but we'll talk through the first couple here. So it starts off on B flat, then we go up a whole step, do a major third, and then we go back down major second, right? So this kind of Lydian or whole tone kind of sound, right? Not too bad. We descend by a half step, and then up a minor seventh, right? So there's that shape that we had before, right? Okay. Pardon me. Okay. And notice that also because of how this is outlined, we descend by a half step here and ascend by a minor seventh, but that gets us a minor ninth from where we started. So something else to consider. Number 13, we descend by whole step, descend by major third, ascend by major second. Same kind of deal. This kind of Lydian whole tone type tetrachord. And then we descend by minor second, descend by minor seventh. So it's like an inverse of number 12. So you notice we started on a different pitch, and then we flipped all the directions. 14, let's take a look at 14. So here's your first pitch, nice good old 0, C, Do, whatever you want to call it. So go ahead and look through the 3 measures at 14 for a sec. Look at the intervals we're going to have to sing. Okay, let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, so slowly, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that third at the end is going to be tricky, but what's nice about this is that it's all alternating minor seconds and minor sevenths. Right, we've got minor second here, and then in between those we've got minor seventh, and then another minor seventh. And then that pesky major third is what ends us. Okay, so let's look at the bottom staff here, looking at 19. Okay. Here we go. Start by ascending not a seventh, but a sixth. Here's our good old minor sixth again. Right? We then ascend by a semitone, descend by a minor seventh. So it's like we've taken this interval and we've expanded it outwards in both directions by a semitone. Right? Right? Then we have a minor third, complicates things a bit. But then we have another minor sixth here from the E up to the C, and then we turn that C downwards into a minor seventh to D. So we've got 2 minor sevenths in this example. We've got from B to C sharp, and we've got from C to D. Okay, surrounded by sixes, and in that very middle portion, a minor third. Pardon me. Okay, tricky one, okay? Let's look at 20. So 20, we've got good old D sharp up here. Nice, comfortable, happy by comparison major third. Here's our minor seventh. Okay. Then we have another minor third ascent. And then here's a minor sixth. Right? Minor third, minor sixth. That pattern that we had last week, if you recall. Minor thirds and minor sixes get us to be a major seventh. Just like how this week, minor sevenths and minor seconds get us also to be within a major seventh. So. Okay. Okay. Finally, 21. This one's a bit tricky because it's a very wide range for this one. So we've got up a minor third and then up a minor seventh, right? Because of where we start, the first note and our final note is a minor ninth apart, but we cut that distance a little bit by going up a minor third to the C up to the B flat. We then descend another minor third, and then from there descend another minor sixth. Okay, so yeah, again, the sevenths are going to be really tricky. So if you're really, we're going to do another melody here. But if you're really struggling with the performance aspect of this, Modus Novus has other examples that I would definitely go through. And again, minor sevenths and minor sixths, just like in tonal contexts, I think are some of the harder intervals to sing. I think we'll have an easier time on Wednesday because the major sevenths are so close to an octave, but the minor sevenths are kind of this odd anomaly. And you don't want to hear them as like dominant intervals like we do in a tonal context, because then it can really confuse you with like where your pitches are. So don't worry, we'll get through this. We've got some more things to practice. So let's take a look at this melody here. Like what we've done before, we'll kind of talk through some of this. We'll talk through it, and then I encourage you to go through and kind of practice and get this up to singing proficiency as a good kind of means of preparation in anticipation of your final. So yeah, we start on 0, end on 0. So we do have this kind of there and back again, which is nice. Not every piece has that. We have it in this case. Okay, descend by minor second, descend by minor seventh. There's our pattern that we have this week. As Modus Novus often does, as we've seen, we'll do these kind of intervals that are often paired together in the book. Okay, so descend by minor second, descend by major seventh, or pardon me, minor seventh, major third, minor seventh. Okay, minor second, perfect fourth. Okay. Okay, minor second, tritone, third. Here's your minor seventh again in measure 3. And then from here, just a step up, minor third down. Step up. Here's an odd interval. We're going a minor third down, and then down a major, another minor seventh. Big leap up a major ninth, minor second down. So notice that we've got some, between measure 4 and 5, we've got some motivic repetition here. Right? And then we change that pattern here, both with the rhythm and with the pitch then. Right? So we've got this kind of descending seventh, up a half step, up a tritone. Okay? Up a fifth. So instead of having C, B here, we've got C, B flat. We alter the pattern a bit. Right? That sounds almost tonal in a sense. Minor second down, minor third down. Okay? Here's another seventh. So we go from G down to A. Okay? So there's 2 whole steps, 2 major seconds. Another minor seventh, minor third, and then finally a minor sixth. Right? So lots of minor sevenths in here, but this is also, at this point, we've got so many other intervals too, that this is basically freely atonal. Okay? And again, as we've talked about, rhythms, I'm taking extreme liberties with for the sake of outlining certain intervals. Okay? Pardon me? Pardon me? So especially in 4, 5, and 6, we really do get this motivic repetition that you can really, if you identify in preparation, can really make sight singing in preparation quite not simple, pardon me, but a little bit more straightforward. The beginning is a little bit kind of dances around a bunch, but we do have lots and lots of minor sevenths, so anchoring yourself to those minor sevenths is the way to go. And then, yeah, the end here is just kind of a little bit of a quasi-cadential almost, where we modify our pickup We've got our sevenths again. We've got whole steps up. We've got another final seventh, and then we've got kind of a step back downwards. So there's our minor third, minor sixth pattern that we had last week, surrounded by, of course, lots and lots of minor second, minor seventh patterns. So recognizing the patterns that Modus Novus sets up and that we've been practicing is also going to make sight singing a lot of this stuff a bit more accessible. Okay, so nice work. We only have one more interval to go. We're going to get that final interval, the major seventh, on Wednesday. So that's it for today for melody. Now, before we end, I do want to talk about a final trichord operation. This is our final one. We're going to talk about something else on Wednesday a bit. It's kind of an aside. But this is our final official operation that I'm expecting you to kind of be responsible for. So, retrograde inversion. Now, we've had retrograde. We've had inversion. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a set that's been inverted and set backwards. Both. Okay? So, these can be paired with octave displacement and transposition, as we'll see. I've put the clock face there just for your own reference if you want to kind of look at these distances on a clock face. But if we have 025, for instance, in this top example, 025, if you invert that, okay, so say we take 025, and I'm distinguishing between the prime form and modified versions with brackets, just for the sake of keeping the prime form as a distinct kind of entity from the modified versions. If we invert 025, instead of going major second up, minor third up, it becomes major second down, minor third down. So instead of... So that then becomes 0, 10, 7. But if we flip the order of that, so we've inverted that already. If we now reverse the order, then it becomes 7, 10, 0. Do we see that? It looks like a transposition, but it's actually not, because now we flipped the construction of our intervals. So instead of, this would be if it were just transposed. Because the interval's in a different place, it's been retrograde inverted. Does that make sense? Again, we'll talk about Friday. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about, like, okay, what am I expecting for you on the final, for instance, for trichord operations. But in general, like, this is just something that I'm looking for identification, if not like, well, this happens here and this happens here, because those are really high level skills. And we're just, again, taking a dip into kind of looking at these sets and seeing them kind of in the wild, because this is kind of a gateway into both theory, but also into singing more complicated music than we get to in this course. For the bottom example, okay, so we've got 014, right? If we transpose 014 under T4, that means that we start, instead of on C, we started on E, right? So 014 is, of course, a minor second and a minor third, or you could think of it as being a minor second from the bottom, a major third from the bottom. So we've transposed that to 458, 458. 458 under inversion, we flip the directions, it becomes 430, right? So instead of, okay, if we flip the direction of 430, that now becomes 034. So retrograde inversion. It's complicated because it's two things happening at once, but by the same token, it's its own operation, even though it is just kind of a compound operation anyways. So retrograde inversion, the final trichord operation. I'm not going to go into much more detail than that. If you're hopelessly lost and confused, then please email me. But as I've foreshadowed, and as again, we'll go into detail on Friday, I'll give you like a prime form and ask you to identify if an operation is being made and what operations you think are happening. I'm not looking for specifics. I'm not looking for you to label, well, 014 becomes transposed under T4 and then turn, because those are things that no amount of preparation can really prepare you for. And those are more theoretical skills anyway. So this is just kind of a way to bridge the way that we approach post-tonal music theoretically and compositionally with how we approach it from an oral skills perspective. So if you're totally lost, don't worry, we'll get there together. Okay? So retrograde inversion, our final trichord operation. That means that we have octave displacement, we have transposition, inversion, retrograde, and retrograde inversion. 5 operations, and that's all that we're going to get. We're going to talk about something else on Wednesday that's kind of more of a theoretical aside that becomes the basis for some oral skills type stuff, but that won't be anything I'll assess you on. So, retrograde inversion. Next time, as I've mentioned, we're adding our major seventh, our final interval. Dictation is on Friday. The entirety of Friday is going to be a dictation day. We'll do trichords, melodies, and a chord construction. Your participation assignment is due Friday, May 29th. I'm assigning it a bit earlier because I want to give you some extra time. I've assigned one of them, number 15 in particular, is quite long. So I really want you to kind of spend some time with these. So number 15 is quite long. Number 25 is a bit harder, but it's short. And there are going to be major sevenths in these. So you can start looking at them now, but to get a head start. But we'll cover some of the intervals in these examples on Wednesday. So take some extra time. I still want you to sing these, ideally, but if you need to play them on the instrument to get there as a practicing tool, whatever you need to do to get there, you need to do to get there. So just those two, number 15, number 25, due to my email by Friday at 10 a.m. So that is it for today. We're in the very home stretch. We've only got 2 lectures left. So with that, I will let all of you go, and I will see all of you next time.